Hi, conductor fans. We just want to give a heads up that this episode contains some explicit verbiage. If you have young listeners around, put in some headphones. Thank you. Hi, and welcome to Conductor, where we are two sisters on a mission to amplify women's voices on the podium.
Join us as we interview leaders in the field of choral music, share resources, and build a community for current and future teacher conductors, all while exploring the gender divide. I'm Kyra Stahr.
And I'm McKenna Stenson. And we are
Conductor. Hello, Conductor listeners.
It is so good to be here today. It is a special recap episode. So this is where Kyra and I get to reflect on our third season, which is crazy. We just completed season 3. So if you are listening to this, congrats. You made it all the way to the end.
We are so excited to have you all as our listeners and are so happy that you're tuning in today. So thank you all for being here. And we wanted to give an update on some of the things that we have been up to. But first of all, if you don't know and you've just been listening to the podcast casually, McKenna and I are sisters. And in the past year, McKenna graduated with her doctorate officially. And I graduated with my master's degree. And we figured we would give you just more of a life update before we dive into some of the content that we covered.
Yeah, we're so excited. So we do a fun thing where we introduce each other. So I'm going to start, and this is McKenna speaking. You can't see my face if you're just listening, but sometimes we get listener feedback that says that we sound alike. So we're sorry, but also we are related. So this is McKenna introducing Kyra. So Kyra Mariah Stahr is just a fantastic human being. She graduated this past spring with her master's in choral conducting from the University of Southern California. And then she and her husband and her 2 cats decided to move all the way across the country to the opposite side of the United States so that Kyra could begin her DMA at the University of Miami at the Frost School of Music, where she's studying with one of our former conductor interviewees, Dr. Amanda Quist. So as we all know, a move pretty much takes up the entire summer. So they were really focused on that, but we had a few times where we got to see each other, which was our absolute favorite. And so Kyra has started that program, and it's been really great to have her back on the eastern side of the United States. We enjoyed visiting her on the West Coast, but our time zone's a little closer together. So that's really fun for us. Her cats don't travel well, in case you were wondering. Other than that, the move, I think, has been really smooth. Kyra, any commentary?
Yeah, my wonderful husband flew with our cats so that I could drive with my dad across the country. And unfortunately, as soon as Michael, my husband, got to LAX, Callie, one of our cats, immediately just pooped all over the other cat, Bagel. And then they were both just covered in shit. And he had to travel on 2 Southwest Airlines flights because there was not a direct one that would let you bring 2 cats, and eventually arrived. And then we started our new life. So what a journey it was. I'm so glad McKenna brought that up. Okay, so
just saying, they're a part of the
Kyra.
story.
It's true. It's very true. And that was a memorable moment from this season. So good on you. All right. So this is McKenna Marie Stenson. She is an amazing, badass conductor teacher who is finishing up at the University of Kansas because she, in addition to graduating with her doctorate officially and walking from the University of North Texas, she is going to be the newest professor at the Florida State University, which is super exciting. And we are so thrilled that their College of Music is going to have her as a faculty member. And it's really exciting because her husband, Brian, is also going to be working at Florida State. So we are just thrilled for them. And this is going to make their life a lot easier because currently they both are commuting and they live in the middle of Kansas and Missouri. And they both drive a long way to work. So everyone in our family is super excited for them and super excited, even though I'm at Miami and Florida State is our rivals. We are so happy for them that they have this new opportunity and it's so deserved. So that's been super exciting to see the journey and watch her just gracefully navigate a stressful time and situation. I'm so happy that they're going to be in the same state now. And now that's going to make our interviews so much easier. And McKenna, was there another thing you wanted to add?
Yeah. So, when it rains, it pours. So we felt like it would be a really good idea to start new jobs and move to a new state and have a baby. So we're just putting a couple of the most stressful life events together. But, the universe has a way of just opening doors and windows, as we've talked about a lot in the podcast. And so, for those of you that don't know, I am married to a wonderful partner, my husband, Brian. And this August, we will actually be celebrating our 9th wedding anniversary, which is crazy. So, we will have been married for some time, and we've always hoped to become parents. That's something that we really wanted. And so, we're welcoming a baby boy into the world this May. And if you are listening to this, I'm a new mom, I hope, by the time this episode has launched, because otherwise this kid's really late. So we're really looking forward to starting our new journey at Florida State, and also entering into the world that is parenthood. So all of you people out there that are being moms and being working professionals, I'm joining the team. And if anybody wants to talk about being pregnant on the job hunt or being pregnant, doing a lot of traveling, boy, do I have some stories to swap with you. So it's been a really exciting and whirlwind couple of weeks here. So we're recording this in January. So I just signed my contract not too long ago for Florida State. So this is new and very exciting.
Yay. I'm so excited for all the things, mostly for the baby though, and really can't wait to meet him. He's going to be the newest conductor ally, and we'll have to, I don't know, feature his little baby voice on an episode maybe so that the listeners can hear him.
Yeah, we think he's going to be, a musical human being. We don't know that, but the genes look good. So we'll take it one day at a time. But yeah, we're really excited and grateful for the support from our friends, but mostly from our awesome family. We're really lucky, Brian and I, to have really fantastic support. And Kyra is obviously going to be a super aunt. So super excited about that.
Me too. I've already bought the baby a lot of things, listeners. It's important for you to know that. So I'm ready.
Yeah, this baby is going to be cute, and it's all because of Kyra. So
he's going to be styling. We need that in our lives.
yeah, we do.
Yes. So that's been some of the biggest news in our personal lives. Do you want to talk about the mission of the podcast, McKenna?
Yeah, so we have just been so grateful again to our listeners and to our sponsors, who we'll talk about later. But I think back when Kyra and I began the podcast, when this idea first started in 2020, 2021, we really had no idea where the podcast would go. And so our mission stays the same, that we are here to amplify women's voices and promote women's health, wellness, and success alongside our fantastic allies. So the mission has stayed the same, but I think we're learning and growing and expanding and hopefully creating even more content that is applicable to you listeners, and helpful as you go along your journey in our field, or if you're just entering into the field or thinking about entering in the field, that we're able to share some resources with you.
And now a quick word from our sponsors.
Conductor. 'Cause 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 'c
This season, we are featuring a fierce lineup of women composers found in the Music Spoke marketplace. At Music Spoke, composers receive the majority of the proceeds from sales, retain control over their own works, and all scores are available immediately as digital downloads. At Music Spoke, they do not simply publish pieces of music. They find composers and give them the tools and freedom to promote themselves.
United States versus Susan B. Anthony took place in June of 1873 and lasted 2 days.
You just heard Suffrage Cantata by Andrea Ramsey. Check out her works today on musicspoke.com and conducther.com/sponsors.
And we're back.
Absolutely. Yeah, I think you summed it up beautifully. We are so excited that this is our 3rd season and can't believe that all of this hard work has resulted in 3 fabulous catalogs of guests that we've gotten to meet and talk with. And it's just been a really cool experience that has kind of blossomed and become something bigger than we even imagined when we first started the concept. And then we also had the opportunity this season to focus more on the intersectionality of feminism and talk to some specific voices who are leaders in terms of trans voice singing and in terms of being allies for Black and Brown composers and conductors. And so that's been really exciting and something that we're going to continue to make sure that we focus on. As 2 white cis women, we're always looking for ways to continue to broaden our perspective and think more about how we can be the best allies and the best colleagues and music makers out there.
It's true. And we've been so grateful to our guests who have been so willing to share and to help create more accessible resources for all of us out there in the field. So if you have a favorite episode on our platforms, Anchor or Spotify or Apple Podcast, if you can leave us a review, giving some feedback on favorite episodes or things that you really liked, all of those things are really helpful in our data collection and helping to hone our content to be what we want it to be, which is what's helpful to you all.
So in addition to all of the things that we mentioned in terms of our personal lives and the many moves and career steps that are happening, we also did a lot as an organization, as a podcast. First of all, we launched our new beautiful website, conducther.com, which we hope you've been to, which has some free resources and books and other things that we've recommended throughout the episodes of the podcast. And just kind of created a central hub where you're able to reach out to us with guest ideas. And we have a ton. So we love hearing from you all and adding to the long list of people that we hope to interview. And please keep reaching out to us. Do you want to talk about some of the conferences that we did, McKenna?
Yeah. So in addition to launching our website, which shout out to Sarah Boyd, she was the designer and sort of implementer of the website. We have been busy. So if you've seen our social media, you know that we have been really privileged to give some presentations related to our data from the podcast and just sharing about the amplification of women's voices in the field. So I think the most exciting trip, because Kyra and I had never been to this place, was to Istanbul, Turkey, where we were honored to present at the World Choral Symposium. And that was such an incredible opportunity, not only to present our data, but to have conversation with a global audience to hear about amplifying women's voices and how women are perceived and respected and associated with the field in all different countries across the world and across the globe. We've also done some things within the United States. So we got to present some sessions at CASMAC out in California, the College Music Society in Miami, which was great because I got to come and see Kyra in person and get to see her in her element at Miami, which was a highlight of the trip for me. We did a NAFME webinar and some events through ACDA Southern and SWACTA. So those were all amazing. And then again, you might have seen from our social media, we were invited to participate in a documentary. So Kyra, do you want to talk a little bit about that and the experience of the documentary?
Yeah, this was a super cool project, which kind of blossomed because of our interview with Amelia Nagoski on the season 2 of Conductor. She and her sister wrote the book Burnout, and McKenna and I were privileged enough to be asked to participate in the Lit Video Books version of this novel, basically. So they reached out to us, and McKenna and I were both interviewed in person. An amazing camera person drove down from Brooklyn to our parents' house in Virginia and interviewed McKenna and I, and we talked a lot about our experiences with burnout and being educators and musicians and how both of those fields tend to lend themselves to burnout. And we got the opportunity to just kind of be featured in that way, which was really cool and special and allowed us another opportunity to see each other over the summer, which we always really love to do.
Yeah, it was just really special. And again, something fun. Kyra and I started this all because we like to do things together. And we wanted some resources to help. So any chance we can be in the same place is a big gift.
And now a quick word from our sponsors.
Conductor, 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 conductor.
Hello, this is Sandra Snow, Director of Choral Programs at Michigan State University and Artistic Director of Mirabai. Mirabai is partnering with the Denver Women's Chorus to present Storytellers, a workshop unlike any conference you've been to. For the first time, leaders in choral music education will partner with members of GALA, the Gay and Lesbian Association of Choruses, to bring a workshop that blends the experiences of musical activists and classroom trailblazers. The Storytellers Conference is designed to improve your rehearsal and ensemble leadership through sessions that promote inclusive pedagogy, cultural responsiveness, and a new lens through which to view the conductor's role. Featured guests will include composer and singer Moira Smiley, and all attendees will be able to see Mirabai in concert. Session presenters will include collegiate educators from across the country and gala chorus leaders who are working as community activists. When we come together to listen to one another's stories, we all grow. Storytellers. Listen, connect, expand. To register, see storytellersdenver.org.
And we're back. But, in addition to all of those wonderful opportunities that are on a international or national scope, we have just been really busy in our local communities, and we want you to know that we're available for you. So we continue to do lots of professional development for high schools. We've done a lot of ACDA chapter talks, NAFME chapter talks, and just been really privileged to talk and communicate and work with choirs in our local regions, national regions, et cetera. But we are here, and if we've learned anything from the podcast, it's to just ask. So don't be afraid to reach out if you're interested in working with Conductor, because we want to be a resource for those in the field.
Definitely. Yeah, those are some of the most revitalizing experiences, I think. And McKenna, we've talked about this before, but I feel like when you get to step out of your own routine and your own kind of individual community and just be in someone else's shoes for a day and get to go in and shake up your routine, shake up their routine, and just meet new people. There's an energy that comes from that, and we both value that so much, and we just love to be around musicians, and we love choral music. So please hire us, and please please reach out to us if you want us to come clinic your choirs. We would love to do it. So thank you. And now a quick word from our sponsors.
Conductor, 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 conductor.
Hello, everyone. Jocelyn Hagan here. I just wanted to let you know that the Compose Like a Girl podcast has officially launched. Listen as I interview celebrated composers Sarah Kirkland Snyder, Chen Yi, Dale Trombor, Angelica Negron, Rina Esmail, and more. I'm also hard at work on the next batch of scores in the Compose Like a Girl choral series, distributed by Graphite Publishing. You can help me bring these new pieces to life. I'm always seeking choral ambassadors to perform these new works by emerging composers. If you're interested, please reach out to me, Jocelyn Hagan, via my website, jocelynhagan.com, or social media. I look forward to hearing from you.
And we're back. And through all of it, I think, I don't want to speak for you here, but I think this has been the season, like season 3 has also paralleled a season of many life transitions for us. And I think we've both grown as people, as musicians, as educators in so many different ways. And I was just wondering if you could sort of summarize your biggest takeaway from season 3.
Yes. What a good question, McKenna. I think that the creation of season 3 was rather challenging for both of us to find the time and to actually make it a priority to do this and do the work that we know is really important. So I think that one of the biggest takeaways was just that this matters, and people are excited about the podcast and they come up and tell me about it randomly. And it's so exciting to hear from you all on social media and through our website. And it's really validating to know that the hours that we put into this are actually something that you enjoy and you take away from. And then it was also just a constant reminder to me, because I would feel stressed leading up to the event, just trying to find the hour and a half that it takes to do an episode. I would feel stressed about it, but then we'd interview these amazing people like Maria Guinand. And then at the end, I'd be like, Maria Guinand. And I'd be like, oh my gosh, what is my life right now? How do I get to just sit here and talk to this amazing figure? And I feel like with every guest that we had, there was just this kind of wave of reassurance that like you are in the right place and you're doing the right thing, which there's nothing more valuable than that when you're in a field that is so stressful and that is so performance focused and sometimes driven on competition. And then that's kind of the biggest takeaway I've had from the episode content is just the more people we talk to, the more people say, it's not about what that other person's doing. We're each on our own path and we're each on our own journey. And that can be so difficult not to get swept up in. And I feel that deeply every day. You have to fight it. But we are each individuals, and every day that we have here, we get to do something unique and cool that nobody else gets to do. So I really took that away, especially from, I'm thinking about Sandra Snow's episode. And I think about our special topic episodes, like with Kathy Roma and Mary. It was so cool to just see people who both got degrees that would eventually lead to academia, and then see them be like, actually, there's a need in my community for music in prisons, and I'm going to go ahead and take that path. And I imagine that they had some hesitancy, thinking, wow, I'm here. Is this the right thing for me? Am I doing everything I need to be doing? And I think that's just a voice in our head that we all have to fight. So that's one of my biggest takeaways from the content. What about you, McKenna?
You always say things so elegantly. So if you haven't met Kyra in person, just know that that this is on and off the air. But wow, season 3, I mean, just in reflecting in our entire production of Conductor, I think that this has paralleled my growth personally with the growth that we've seen in the podcast and the way that we are starting to organize and facilitate our content making. So I agree that actual scheduling and sitting down and creation of the episodes this time around, I think was the most challenging. And also the season where I walked away after every single time we recorded feeling refreshed and revitalized because of the words and wisdom that people were speaking into our lives. And that means not only from our guests like Maura Smiley, but our incredible K through 12 educators who I felt like I could have talked to for hours upon end because they just had so much wisdom to offer and such great advice. So really hope that you are enjoying all of those different episodes. One that really stuck with me, and especially in this season, was our episode on leadership and especially like women in leadership. And that was with Jess and Marcella, the two of the leadership members of the Tucson Girls Chorus. And I just felt like hearing them speak about their relationship with work, also in relationship with being mothers, which obviously for me is something that is on my mind. For those of you who are moms and are out there in the field, for those of you who are not moms, we're all in different places. But I can tell you, even just from the time that I announced my pregnancy in a formal way on social media, I've already had some events that have made me feel less than, not because of how I want to feel about myself, but because of the way people have approached me to ask, oh, are you sure you're going to be able to do this thing? Or, and I understand it's all coming from a place of desire to be supportive. But again, hearing Jess and Marcella talk about their relationship with each other and the way that they as an organization are reorganizing and restructuring to support working moms in our field, I think that we all can take a lesson from that. And it's something that we've talked about a lot in our Conduct Her presentations about just educating ourselves on maternity leave and policy within organizations so that we can help women continue to thrive and work if that's what they desire. And if they want to take their work in the direction that is a stay-at-home mom, you are awesome. And that's badass. And that is also a huge undertaking and equally as important. So just lots of things in that that I'm thinking through, and I think I'll probably continue to be thinking about forever.
Yeah, I completely agree. It was really fun when we recorded that episode because we knew McKenna was pregnant, but obviously we weren't telling anyone at that time. And so it was really exciting to like watch her eyes light up as they were talking about some of the choices that they made and some of the conversations that they had. And I also think, to echo what you said, like that episode was just really powerful in terms of watching two women work together successfully. And McKenna and I obviously are sisters and love each other dearly. And I think we have one of the best sibling relationships ever. But that doesn't mean that there aren't challenges, right? That doesn't mean that there aren't moments where we have to push each other or sit down and have difficult conversations. And think, especially when we're together with the podcast, it's its own entity and we're two operating managers of it. So it was really neat to have that episode and just a nice refresh to be like, oh yeah, we do some of those things. And like, here are some other things that we can do better. And we forgot to mention, we've become an official business by this point, hopefully. So we applied and hopefully when this episode drops, we are an official LLC, which is something that we've been working towards. And you should all listen to the episode with Jen Rosenblatt because she had a lot of wisdom to offer in terms of our development that way. And now a quick word from our sponsors.
Conductor, 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 conductor.
Pavon Publishing is proud to feature outstanding women composers and conductors.
Composer Judith Harrington has created a prolific choral series for youth and treble choirs that includes Fireflies from Japan and Duérmete mi corazón from Brazil.
Shirley McRae has many outstanding arrangements for young choirs, including popular songs like Black Sheep, and Sakura.
Conductor Iris Levine maintains a treble chorus series of medium to advanced works with text by poets from Teasdale to Yeats.
Other composers and authors in the Pavon family circle include Zenaida Stewart-Robles, Catherine Rundis, and Martha Wall. Explore all of these fantastic composers at Pavan Publishing. And we're back. We know that we have really, I think, come a long way since the start of our podcast, but there's also more to do. There's always more to do. And I think Kyra said it earlier already that we recognize the importance of the work and we're not going to stop that work, even though it may look different in new seasons as life continues to shift and change. But Kyra, do you want to talk a little bit about how we plan to move forward and what's on the docket?
Yeah, I think that this past year was definitely proof that we can do a lot of things. So don't worry, we're going to continue to keep doing all the things. And that's going to look like definitely more K-12 episodes. We really, really loved receiving the outpouring of invitations and recommendations from all of you. That was such an exciting time. And we reached out to every single person who you nominated. So know that whoever you nominated received an email, and we would love to hear from them, even though the season has already dropped if they didn't respond. And they still have many opportunities to come. So we'll continue to do that and think about more questions that we want to hear from them, maybe have more of an opportunity to engage with our teachers in other ways. We're not sure what that looks like yet, but we're really looking forward to continuing that initiative and are excited to keep hearing from you all. And we also enjoyed having some of our special topic episodes, like our panel on trans voices. That was such an exciting and educational opportunity for us. As well as McKenna mentioned, having two people talk about women in leadership in the same organization with the Tucson Girls Chorus, which was so exciting. And we're going to continue to reach out to you all. And if there's a specific topic or an expert on a topic that you think that we should have on the podcast, we would really love to hear from them. We have quite a long list of people that we dream to talk to, and we'll continue to reach out and hopefully have many more seasons. So please keep us in mind as you're at conference and you're hearing from these amazing people. We want to know them and we want to talk to them and bring you their content.
Absolutely. And I can't reiterate enough how important it is to hear from you all. So again, comments on the podcast itself, comments on our social media, just simply sharing all of those small acts make a big difference for our new LLC. So go ahead and continue to do that and encourage others to check out the podcast because we think there's a lot here for our community. I know that this season, we just are wrapping it up. We just did our interview with Jonathan Martin a couple of days ago. And so I've been trying to think back about some quotes or ideas from season 3 that really stuck out. And so something that has been resonating with me, there's a couple things. First off, I think Jen's episode that you mentioned about entrepreneurship is invaluable. I will go back and listen to that episode over and over and over again. And we've been privileged enough to have a couple of Zoom calls with Jen to talk about business model and strategic planning. And I think that all of those ideas are not only great for a business model, but also thinking about self-value, self-worth, and self-promotion in a way that is organic. Because I know one of the things that I struggle with, and I think my husband struggles with, is seeing people online maybe promoting themselves in a way that feels inauthentic. And so I think that episode is really healthy and a really great way to sort of embark on that mission in a way that's authentic to you. And then I think the other biggest takeaway is from a conversation with Kateri Lavacek, who was one of our K-12 educators that we had on here, and just thinking about a comment she said, which was the to-do list will never get done in the way that you want it to. And just the reality that sometimes you have to close everything up and give yourself a little bit of space so that you can be the best version of yourself for the people that you're going to be working with the next day. And that is something that I struggle with to this day. And I know that that will be something I keep reflecting on and coming back to. What about you, Kyra? Some ideas or quotes?
Yeah, those were great. Some of my favorites as well. When I think about the K-12 episodes, I immediately think about Angelica Brooks, who I had the opportunity to share time at USC with. And we had a couple of classes overlap, and she's just such a badass. And I really loved that she said, "Don't take your work home." I just couldn't believe it when that was her advice that came out of her mouth. And I'm not there yet. Just full honesty, I'm not there yet. And I'm in grad school. So I don't think I can be, because I have literal homework that that needs to be done in the nighttime. But I strive for that. And I've tried to be a little bit more intentional about when there is an opportunity to go on a walk or to just take 10 minutes and sit in my car and be silent or eat my salad and not have my phone on. I've tried to be a little bit more intentional about kind of valuing those moments and trying to create them where there is some space. And it's not perfect, but I have her in the back of my mind, and I'm continuing to try and find those moments where I am just with my friends or with my family and not thinking about work. And that can be really difficult, but it's something that we all, I think, could benefit from. So that's one of the main K through 12 quotes that really stuck out to me. Then in terms of the episodes, there were so many that I loved. I really, really enjoyed Maura Smiley's episode, just start to finish. I think she was the first person that we interviewed this season. Is that right? Yeah. I just remember it. First of all, I love her music, and we've met her once at an ACDA conference, which we talk about in the episode, I think. And I remember meeting her in person and thinking, oh, she's just so cool. You know, I feel like there's a few people in our field who were like, wow, you're a really cool person. You know, like there's a lot of amazing, energetic people and introverted people, but I feel seldom times we're like, oh, that's like a really cool person. It's more like, wow, you're amazing. There's so much to learn from you. So I really loved talking with her. And it was that moment that really grounded me, I think, for the school year and for the creation of season 3, in saying, oh, yeah, like this is why we do this. It's just amazing. And to have such interesting conversations about her life and her becoming of a holistic musician and being a performer, a composer, an improviser, still someone who tours with a band on occasion. I mean, it was really validating to hear her story and know what an impact she's had on the choral field, even though she doesn't necessarily fit the bill of a traditional composer like we would think about. And I really enjoyed getting to talk to her about just being who she is. And I felt like she was just shining her wisdom at us and we were absorbing it. So I really loved that episode, and I walked away, and she sent us an email afterwards and was like, this was amazing. It was so great to meet you all. How can I help? How can I be involved and lift you all up? So it was super validating to get that kind of response from someone that we respect so much.
And now, a quick word from our sponsors.
Conductor, 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 conductor.
Hey everyone, Gloria here from Call Time Clothing, back again to remind you to check out our newest special edition items from our collaboration with Conductor. Grab a super soft tee for yourself, a family member, a teacher, or maybe all of the above. We've truly got something for everyone. Head over to Call Time Clothing today.
And we're back. There's sort of a through line in this season about improvisation and moving away from norms, whether it's social norms or musical norms, and sort of challenging ourselves to think outside the box. And I think that was so validating in a field where we are also multifaceted, but sometimes feel like we have to fit into some sort of standard that's being set or implemented by people who may or may not be relevant in today's choral community. So I would say take a listen and check it out, because that through line for me is something I'm going to walk with, just like you said, Kyra, for a long time to come.
Yeah, absolutely. We love you, Maura. You're so cool. Yeah. Also, her name's pronounced Maura. Great. Segueing away from our wonderful content and taking a moment to think about some of the amazing partnerships and sponsorships that we had this season. It was really cool to, and also scary, to reach out and ask people if they wanted to be involved with the podcast. But I think that was a great lesson for us and really pushed us to think about where we want to go. And it was wonderful to receive, again, such a great response from people like Music Spoke and like Jocelyn Hagen's Compose Like a Girl series and Pavan Publishing, all of these people who we've been buying our music from and now are like, oh yeah, we want to be involved with your podcast. I mean, that was just absolutely incredible. So thank you to all of our sponsors. And we loved creating our first t-shirt with Gloria from Call Time Clothing. That was definitely a highlight from this season 2 into season 3 kind of bridge. And we're super excited to keep bringing you more merchandise, because who doesn't love a good sticker on their laptop? McKenna has many. So we're just thrilled about how that's developed.
Yeah, and I think in addition to all of our sponsors, we would be remiss to not talk about our team. I think one of the biggest changes from the beginning of when Kyra and I started the podcast was that it was just her and I with a dream and a lack of experience for sure. So we were able to really grow together and also to realize, hey, we need to ask for some help. So if you're on that journey, we are too. And so we're just super grateful to Emily Staten. She was an audio editor for us for season 2 and has moved into an intern position. So a lot of our social media is being supported by her. We also have a fabulous intern out in California who Kyra met. Do you want to talk about Grace, Kyra?
Yes, I met the amazing Grace Hardy at one of my concerts with USC. She came to our holiday concert and waited. I was literally picking up trash because grad school. I was just picking up trash and organizing Christmas decorations. And this wonderful human being just ran up to me and was like, "Hi, are you Kyra?" And I was like, yes. And there was Grace and her wonderful twin sister. And she introduced herself to me, and her dad was there. And it was amazing to meet someone who was so excited about the podcast, who is in high school and currently involved in a ton of ensembles at her own school and doing some conducting opportunities. And she's really a leader at her school. And it was so cool to meet somebody who was that excited to meet me. So I loved that moment. Definitely a highlight from the fall semester. And then Grace came again to one of our concerts in the spring and brought her sister and her dad again. And then that prompted her in the summer to reach out and say, "Hey, I want to be involved with this. How can I help? And here are my skills. And you all taught me to ask for things if I think I would be a good fit." So that was really cool to see our words have a direct impact on somebody. And we're so lucky to have Grace involved in the podcast and are so thankful for everything that she's done for us. And she was huge in terms of our K-12 initiative. It was literally Grace saying, "Hey, I think people want to hear more from teachers." And we were like, obviously, because everybody out there listening for the most part is a teacher. So Grace, thank you for everything that you've done. And we should also mention our incredible audio engineer for season 3, Mary Hannah Clance, Dr. Clance. McKenna, do you want to talk about one Dr. Clance?
Yeah, well, we would be just remiss not to talk about our mom, Mary Hannah Clance. And we can't talk about my mom without talking about my dad, because they both have just been really instrumental. Paul Clance, shout out to you. They both have been instrumental in the support of the podcast, both from just saying like, "Hey, we think this is a really cool idea," to season 2, where, the whole team was together around the table, listening to episodes and, doing some editing together, because sometimes that's what it takes. It takes a village. And we're really grateful to both of them because they've transitioned into really being an official part of our team. So we're really grateful to our mom, Mary Hannah, who's been editing season 3. She has a really beautifully critical ear for this type of stuff. And we're really excited about her involvement. And then my dad, who has listened back to all of our episodes. He is a podcast fiend, so he loves listening to a podcast, and has been great to give us that sort of listener feedback. And so we would just be really at a loss without them, and we're just super grateful.
Agreed. We love you, Mom and Dad. Thanks for helping us. And thanks for everything that you've done, everything that you're doing for us, and everything you are hopefully going to keep doing in the next season.
I know that before we go on, I know that they're not technically involved in the same way, but both of our partners, Michael and Brian, have been super supportive of the podcast, and it takes a lot of time away from maybe time that we could be hanging with them. So we're really grateful to our partners for their continued support. So rock stars. Thanks, you two.
Yeah, absolutely. We love you, Brian and Michael also. So now that we took a moment to kind of thank a lot of the people who have been super, super supportive and helpful in our journey, we just kind of wanted to wrap everything up by saying thanks to our listeners. We wouldn't be here without your support, and we are so grateful for you all being here. We hope that you share the podcast. We've heard from some teachers and collegiate directors that they've used our podcast as a resource in classes. So that's super amazing. And we hope that that continues to happen. So please share widely and know that we just really appreciate it more than you could ever understand. And we love that it's making an impact. And I think just a reminder that we love hearing from you. We want to keep hearing from you. We get your notifications when you send them through our website. We see your responses to submitting a guest ideas, and we want more. So if you didn't have an opportunity to nominate a K-12 educator and you want to take a moment to do that, please submit their name. Go to our website, conductor.com, to the submit a guest idea, and we would love to hear from you, and we will reach out to them.
It is so true. We are so excited for what is to come. We are launching a little bit differently this year, as you may have noticed. So we're in part because of a wonderful sponsorship with the Denver Women's Course in Mirabai. We wanted to make sure that we got their ad out in a timely fashion for their event that's happening in April, but also in part because I'm going to be on maternity leave for a little while here. So we rolled out this season starting in January, but we will indeed be back. We think we've provided a lot of great content, and we hope that you glean lots out of season 3. And like Kyra said, get in touch with us so that we can start our recording and processing for season 4, because it's coming. You can't get rid of us.
Yay. Thank you all so much for listening. Please write in with any questions that you have or topic ideas that you want for next season. And know that we are already hard at work thinking about the next people we want to interview. And we are so thankful for you. So please enjoy and come back and listen to us next season.
Bye, everybody. Thank you for listening. This has been Conductor.
This episode was engineered and mixed by Mary Hannah Klontz, with intro and outro music by Jonathan Martin and ad music by Kate Krellin.
Discover more resources at conductor.com.